You're listening to Tehachapi with Key Budge, Corey Costello, and Greg Garrett.
Welcome back to another edition of Tehachapi. I'm Key Budge, Corey Costello, Greg Garrett join me. Gentlemen, today we've got, we're going to talk about what's gone on this summer and how it's affected some other organizations around the community. I mean, we're announcing other events that are not taking place.
Yeah.
So I know and that has that trickle-down effect is what we started to talk about. And that's going to lead up to the conversation that I had with Jim Wallace from the Tehachapi Cancer Foundation. We talk about his nonprofit organization and how it impacts, the local residents here in Tehachapi. Here we are, COVID-19 continues to strike, and we know it's not going to win anytime soon. I mean, what are your thoughts on this and the events that we're missing out? This is a totally different summer than we've ever had.
Yeah. We have so many good nonprofits, and everybody helps everybody out. All the events have some kind of nonprofit input or an opportunity for fundraising, whether it was the July 4th festival that didn't happen with the Lions Club or the boosters or the football team selling pancakes, or it was Cheers to Charity and all the thousands of dollars they give out every year to nonprofits who help them put that event on, like the Tehachapi Wrestling Club, who spends all summer doing events, Curtis Nelson and his kids doing all kinds of setup, tear down, and that's money they use for their wrestling club over the year. Without those events, not only do we not have the event, but we also, those nonprofits that rely on that as a big part of their fundraising don't get that money. So there's been that kind of start of the trickle-down effect.
Yeah, Tehachapi is just full of people that just give back to the community, right? I mean, if you think about the Cancer Society, the Warrior Booster Club, Family Life Pregnancy, Tehachapi Police Foundation, Cheers to Charity, Friends of Tehachapi Depot, the museum, Tehachapi Community Theater, Tehachapi Mountain Rodeo Association, the Senior Center, all the service clubs. I could go on and on.
Oh,
right?
That's just a few.
Yeah, it's just a smattering of what's going on.
And everybody just not having that opportunity to help one another out. And those are big fundraisers for them, just being in front of a lot of people. And they have lost that opportunity this year.
Yeah. So next year, 2021, we'll see twice the impact, right? Everybody's just roaring to go, right? We get this COVID thing behind us, and we're going to see twice the impact that is a positive piece of what we've got going on in Tehachapi.
It wouldn't surprise me that every event we have in 2021 is the biggest turnout they've
over
ever had.
Over the top, right?
Right. This COVID-19 is in a lot of these, Tehachapi Mountain Festival, the rodeo, they push back their dates thinking, okay, maybe we can get it at the end of summer, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. And some groups are in a little better shape than others. I use Tehachapi Mountain Rodeo Association, for example. Since they didn't spend any money to get ready for a rodeo at Mountain Festival or get ready for a rodeo in September, other than some insurance, they were able to kind of not rely on the funds from the 2020 rodeo to keep them afloat because they still had money in the bank. Some groups have that, some groups don't. It's just depends on how your 2019 went. I know in the case of the Tehachapi Warrior Booster Club, the summer is very important for the teams to help raise money through the Booster Club, and they all have their own little account. So the high school team, the soccer team wants jerseys or something. Well, if they helped out and did a fundraiser during the summer, they have money to spend. And even though the fall sports were delayed in California, there's still bills that are due. And I know like the football team has video scouting that they have to pay for every year. Well, they don't have money in that account. So, the boosters had money from 2019 because we had a really good year to help pay for that. And that's going to happen, though, even as the season continues, whenever it continues. These teams or these clubs that just missed out on those opportunities are going to try to find a scramble way to pay
And all
that
these
bill.
organizations, they still meet. They have Zoom meetings, right? They're laying plans for next year. So they're very engaged, and we would encourage everyone that's listening to get engaged. All the service clubs, everybody's still there. They're doing what they do, just not out in public.
It's tricky. It's different.
Tricky.
It's really tricky. Just from the ones I'm involved with, we just don't know. You're planning to keep going and try to do business as much as normal. But when you go to a sponsor or a potential investor and you ask them for money, and of course they want their return on investment, you just don't know what that return is going to look like. You have an idea. You might have a schedule, you might have a thought, whether or not you give that to them. There's kind of a trust that has to be built up there as well.
But they all serve a great purpose, and that purpose still exists, right? So they need to be supported in everything that we can do to help them.
Right. The needs don't go away for
Right.
those that need it. Like we talked with Jim, we'll talk about the amount of people that he impacts here in our area that have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And when they have less dollars to work with, it's has an impact on those that really have need. And our nonprofits here in Tehachapi really step up just year round. It's not just about their fundraising, but the things that they do, and they often just don't get the credit they deserve. So we can kind of shine a little bit of a light. And for people, if you're at home, do a little research and check out, some of the other organizations that are here in Tehachapi that do so much good. If you've got a little free time, explore that. Maybe there's something you can do to assist them from home. Maybe it's not financial. Maybe it's with volunteer time or work, because a lot of those organizations are also looking to generate new blood into the organizations.
The Humane Society, Animals Stop, Tehachapi Humane Society. We've mentioned just a couple. There are so many. If you have a request or a need, reach out to us. We can help you put it in contact with those organizations also.
There's, when I kind of look here at our COVID-19 summer, I mentioned a little earlier, it's not like any summer we've ever had. and Greg and I have had a couple conversations where I'll be out around town, and sometimes it's hustling and bustling, and other times it's quiet, where it's almost like eerie, where you look around and there's no movement. Then the next day, the restaurants, the sidewalk cafes, and all those things have attendance. So it's just a different vibe and feeling that's going on. And I'm sure we're not unique to that.
Well, today technically was the first day of school.
Right.
I mean, what do we usually have the first day of school?
We have chaos, right?
We have traffic, we have chaos. Everybody's drive to work is 10 minutes longer because of those darn buses that everyone complains about, right?
There was chaos at home.
There was chaos on the webs.
There was chaos at home, right? All the internet probably crashed. Wi-Fi, oh my goodness, I can only imagine.
I'll bet.
It's funny because last night one of my neighbors is an elementary teacher here in our school district, and she was mentioning, I just miss seeing the kids.
Yeah.
And it's just different doing it that virtual. She goes, I just look for that day. Hopefully they get through the first quarter.
Right.
And kids will be in the classrooms with the teachers.
I'm so glad my kids are grown and out of school. Oh my goodness, I couldn't deal with that.
This will be a conversation we have when Stacy Everson Larson joins us. She's going to be joining us in the coming days so we can look at education and the impact of the next fall.
Well, it takes a village,
right?
We're all in this together. Everything that we do, we need to help each other out.
Make sure you subscribe to Tehachapi so that way you can stay in tune. We've got lots of things planned, and we've got a conversation with Jim Wallace that I had. Guys, hopefully you enjoy it. I got a chance to sit down with Jim for a few minutes, and he shared the impacts personally, and I was able to share a little bit of mine. You guys know this, my backstory involving cancer. And Jim and I got a chance to share some stories and how his organization helps here in Tehachapi. And it was really, I think, a very good conversation, and hopefully everyone enjoys it.
You're listening to Tehachapi.
Hey, with us today, Jim Wallace, Tehachapi Cancer Foundation. Jim, thank you for coming in.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I tell you, I've had an opportunity to work with you over the last few years with the foundation. And first of all, so let me start with saying thank you for what you do and what your organization does.
Well, I'm just glad we're around that we can help people.
If you don't mind, for folks that maybe aren't familiar with the Tehachapi Cancer Foundation, because the name says it all, let's talk about the history of the organization.
Okay, my late wife and I, we started this while she was battling cancer because we found a lack of resources. Relay for Life, they do a wonderful job, but everything that's made there pretty much went to research and development, not the person on the street that's battling cancer.
Because that's what we find. The folks that have the cancer, they've got more costs associated to them, and they may not have great insurance plans, and there's a huge financial impact for this.
Yeah, and husband and wife usually have to take the same day off from work, and you're limited on, you just lost some more income, and you have more outgo, and you're driving 90 miles round trip for your radiation or chemo. Radiation's like every day for 5 weeks.
Right.
That adds up. So we found that there's not a whole lot of resources out there to help the individual. So we decided to start the Tehachapi Cancer Foundation.
And how long ago was that?
That was in 2014.
Okay. So you're well into the seventh year, seventh year of the foundation, and it's been growing. Tell us a little bit about who the foundation touches here, because I think the key word is Tehachapi.
Correct.
You take care of people that live here in Tehachapi.
Right. All money's donated to the Tehachapi Cancer Foundation. Stay in 93561. We are here for our community. I like to say it takes a village. And we are such an awesome village up here. So everything stays here. This is what we're here for.
Any idea how many cancer patients you're able to touch through the organization each year?
Probably about 20.
And that's
a lot.
It's a significant number. And when you think about the amount of treatments and the amount of visits they're making, because they're traveling either to Bakersfield, the Antelope Valley, or perhaps even to LA
right.
for these treatments.
Yeah, UCLA is a big one.
So there's a lot of costs that are associated with this, and your organization is able to help. Some of the things that you're able to do, with the money that's raised to help these patients fight, where does it go for them? I know you've got a couple of different things that the foundation offers.
It just depends on. We don't have a rule book. Okay, we go by our heart, and if we've done all kinds of stuff, we've done oil changes on cars and put new tires on because of all the mileage. We even gave one couple a cord of firewood because that was their only source of heat in their house, and they couldn't afford to buy it. And we actually had half of that donated, and they delivered it and stacked it. We've paid utility bills, co-pays, as long as they're not astronomical. We are a small organization, and you all know that some of these co-pays can get into the thousands.
Right.
Our number one thing that we're doing for most of our clients currently is fuel cards.
Everyone's needs are different.
Exactly.
And that's, I think, the beauty of what you and your organization does is it looks at the individual needs of these cancer patients because they are so different.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's an individual, and it's just, just like in life.
Yeah,
we all have our different needs.
It doesn't fit into a perfect box. So we can check that box and say, here's what you get. And it's like, no, they have this need.
Right.
And you're able to help that. Let's talk about what we're experiencing now. Here we are in this COVID-19. It's been going on since March is when we've really started to feel it and made adjustments.
Right.
And I know that has to have a huge impact on a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, nonprofits, we're hurting. We are down in donations this year by $10,000 to $11,000. That's a lot for a small foundation like ours, and it affects the number of people we can help and to what extreme we can help them. There's no large gatherings. Still to this day, there's no large gatherings allowed. So,
which would be a fundraiser dinner or a fundraiser auction, these things where people would come out for an evening and they would open up their wallets, their checkbooks, they would participate. We can't do that.
That's exactly correct. And, all the nonprofits in town are suffering some point to some degree. And I don't see it ending when they say, okay, let's go back to large gatherings, because we are supported by our community, our businesses and our local community. And they're all hurting right now too. Any business is hurting right now.
Right.
So it's going to take a year for them to maybe recover. So I'm looking at a 1 to 2 year recovery for nonprofits to get back to having a good, substantial income to help.
As you say, I think this 2-year projection is realistic because, as you said, the amount of businesses that support the Tehachapi Cancer Foundation have had an impact. It's going to take time for them to get their business back to where it was, where they can start to look to make these charitable donations, whether it's with financial gifts or maybe it's products that can be auctioned off.
Correct.
So now I know you've probably got some regular businesses. So and we don't do commercials, but who are some of the businesses here in town that are the big supporters? And I know it won't be just your foundation. These businesses are so generous; they help so many nonprofits. But if there's folks out here that are maybe thinking going to Bakersfield or to Palmdale, Lancaster to go shopping for something, maybe if we mention their business name, they might make that choice to stay here.
One of our biggest supporters has always been Jake's Steakhouse, because they help out cancer people too. On Wednesdays they do the shut-in meals, and so we help them out. They've always helped us. I'd say 90% of the restaurants in town have given us cards to raffle off. I know I'm going to miss something, so I'm not going to go name by name because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
That's very fair. And, that's one of those that when they can give you a gift card and it's something that's tangible that, you can auction off, I can go ahead and participate in. They have to look at their bottom line. So there's maybe not as many that they can freely give away with all the nonprofits that we've got here that need to be supported.
Correct.
So What are some of the things that you're able to do right now, since we don't have these large gathering events? You are trying to be creative in how you're fundraising.
We tried a virtual online auction. It was like a 3-day auction, and we had a beautiful table donated by the Tiefenthalers. He plugs his table into electricity and makes it pretty. And he donated a table, and we raffled it off. The winner, and I'll say it's Ron and Doris Depew, they won the auction, and they donated the table back so we could auction it off again. Virtual online was not real successful. I've done virtual 5K where, you can walk it, swim it, anything you do, and you get a medal at the end. That works out okay, but it's expensive to put on because of the price of the medals. And then, people don't want to spend $50 to do a virtual 5K. You had to experiment.
And I would stick with that virtual 5K. I think that people are starting to come on board the more and more that we're seeing. So don't venture too far away, because I know Chris and I have talked about ourselves participating in those events. It's been a conversation, I think, because we're in this for such a prolonged period of time. When we have an opportunity to participate in something on our own, right. I think we're now all starting to put our feet on the ground with that idea and say, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's go for it. So hopefully I mean, obviously, your bottom line, what the costs are, but I think that people are starting to gravitate that way to say, yeah, I think I want to try that.
Yeah, well, maybe one of our listeners out there will step up and say, I'll donate the money for the medals.
There you go. What kind of costs would be associated to something like that?
It depends on the number. The more you order, the cheaper it is. And last batch I ordered, I kept generic with no year on it.
Yeah.
So
smart.
I could use it again.
Absolutely.
If somebody wants to engrave the back and put a year on it, that's fine too. But the medals are the most expensive part, and we're probably looking at $300 to $500 to get enough medals to support us.
And then hopefully we get out of that, we get people participating. We see some that money, which is tax deductible for those that want to participate in those events, that they can go ahead and show that as a charitable donation, which helps the foundation. They get their tax break by making that donation. So there's that. You got to keep in mind that you are getting something.
Right. We are return. A 501c3 nonprofit. So yes, check with your accountant, but yes, everything should be tax deductible.
What are some of the other things that we're talking about, since there has been such a change in like Cheers for Charity had to make a big adjustment, and they help so many charities locally. What are some of the things that you're looking to do, or if people want to donate, how do they reach out?
There's I have a website. It's tehachapicancerfoundation.org. There's a donate button on there. You can mail it, and my mailing address is P.O. Box 766, Tehachapi 93581. Also on Facebook, we're on there, Tehachapi Cancer Foundation. We take Venmo, we take PayPal.
You're flexible. It's whatever's easiest for the donor. You're able to accept several different ways.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing that I understand, having cancer under my roof, is that cancer patients don't always talk about maybe what they need or what they're going through. And this is a way where people can reach out and support people that maybe, because I think the most commonly said thing that I hear is, whatever you need, let me know.
Right.
And that cancer patient is never going to let you know.
Nope.
They don't want to bring on whatever that feeling is, whether they, I don't know, kind of at a loss for words for it, but they just don't feel like, I need this and I need that and I need help here. They don't. And people recognize maybe the need, and that's when maybe your organization is able to step in very quietly and help them with this assistance. So this is where the money goes.
Yeah, a lot of times it's the neighbor or the family member that says, can you talk to my aunt? She's battling cancer, and she could use some help, but doesn't want to reach out. So yeah, we'll make that cold call, and we'll say, we just happen to have a $50 gas card for you. We want to come by and drop it off.
See, and that's the beauty of it. And you're able to give someone that little spark, that little, like someone does care.
Right.
Because they're never going to ask for it themselves. So I recognize that, and I appreciate it. So let me say thank you to you and your organization for all the things that you do, because those are little things that mean something to that patient.
Exactly. Yeah. Just sometimes just talking. Somebody's going to come by,
Right.
because a lot of people are alone in this battle, and it's not an easy battle. It is actually a battle, as you well know.
Yeah. And I think from the caregiver side, it's a whole nother thing, and it's the same thing. You don't ask for things that you might seek things out, but you don't talk about what you need. And
right.
I think that's having the support where you can talk to someone that understands.
Yes.
It definitely goes a long way. So thank you for that, because you've been on that receiving end of conversations with me. So I appreciate that support you've been able to share.
Yeah, I like to refer to caregivers as sharegivers, because you are sharing everything.
Yeah.
So I like to use the word sharegiver.
Yeah. It's a part of it, and not everyone has the support or a sharegiver.
Right.
So I know your organization is able to step up.
And I actually have some former clients that are more than willing to talk to current clients, because they're nervous, they're scared, they don't know what's well, I can put you in touch with so-and-so, and they'll walk you through it because they've been there.
That mentorship.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is something that only that person who's sat in that chemo chair
Yep.
or been in that radiation booth is able to relate. So
exactly.
That's another great resource. So
Yes.
not only the financial, but also that mental and emotional support that goes along with it. So, the foundation continues to give.
Yep.
What are the best ways to reach out to you, the organization, if people would like to donate, have a question, maybe it's a need?
I can give you my cell number. That's pretty much the direct line.
Okay.
It's 661-343-0833. Also, TehachapiCancerFoundation.org for the website. You can find us on Facebook, Tehachapi Cancer Foundation, and email is TehachapiCancerFoundation@gmail.com.
Perfect. Jim, anything else you'd like to add?
Nope. I think we've covered it, and just want to get the word out and let people know we're here and what we do.
I think that there's so much information that's out there, and I think the one thing that always centers back to me is the name of the organization, Tehachapi Cancer Foundation. It can't be any more simple or clear, because everything stays right here in Tehachapi.
Exactly.
So thank you again. Look forward to talking to you again about something hopefully very positive, where we can say we had a great support from whether it was this conversation or one of your virtual events that's coming up.
There you go. Thank you.
Jim, we were just talking off air about something else that everyone should do. And what was that?
If you're battling cancer, there's an organization called KernCountyCancerFund.org. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and they're there to help people only strictly with medical bills. So that's a resource that I make sure everybody knows about.
Fantastic resource to share. I know American Cancer Society, they actually have some programs, maybe help you with a bill, but they've got other programs, like maybe if you're about to have your surgery in cancer and you need to stay in a hotel, or your family's there to support you, and they've got hotel programs and
Correct.
different things that whether it's if you're a woman and you need a wig, or
Right, yes.
there are things that these other organizations are able to do. So there is an importance to be in touch with other organizations, but the beauty of yours is you make sure you're taking care of Tehachapi residents. So
Correct.
your Tehachapi dollars stay here to take care of Tehachapi patients.
That's correct.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Really appreciate
All
your
right,
time.
thank you.
You're listening to Tehachapod.
Talking with Jim, like I mentioned before we cut to the interview, which was recorded earlier, it has a lot of personal ties for me. And I know I've shared stories, here in the office, and everyone's journey, whether the health, whenever it's a medical, it's different, but it's amazing the support that you can get for these people here in Tehachapi come from people in Tehachapi. So the support comes here, it helps those that are suffering and need help, and he's just got a great organization that I can speak firsthand of and say, yeah, they do a great job.
And that's super important right now, the local aspect, whether it's a Tehachapi Cancer Foundation or, those groups that keep the dollars local, they keep the donations local, and they're not sending them out. Not that we shouldn't help our neighbors, but I think right now, when maybe that money and that assistance is tight for nonprofits, really pay attention to where that goes, and does it stay, here on the mountain, or does it go elsewhere?
He had mentioned, year to date, they're down $10,000 in donations, So that's $10,000 that doesn't go back into the community for those, because I think he's 100%. All of the proceeds go right back. There's no administration fees that go along with it. So it goes right back to the folks, in the community that need the help.
Right, and $10,000 is a lot of money. He pays for gas, food. When you're in cancer treatment, chemo or radiation, you typically drive to the Antler Valley or Bakersfield, and you do that 2 or 3 times a week. That starts to add up quick.
It does. Jim's information was on the podcast. If you missed it and you'd like it, you can reach out to us here at Tehachapi City Hall. You can send me an email, media@tehachapicityhall.com. I'll be happy to send you all the information from the Tehachapi Cancer Foundation. Totally switch gears. Tehachapod is nominated for Podcast of the Year in the government category.
I didn't know there was a category.
Naturally.
Right?
I mean, of course, but continue.
We're competing with 3 other podcasts that we are the newest kid on the block, and there's a lot of different government style podcasts, but Veteran Affairs is one of those podcasts that's up against us.
That's a great podcast.
It is,
yeah.
And it's been around for a few years. They do great work, great information, so it's nice to be in the category with them.
Just being nominated is an honor.
Oh, right? It is. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But it's the People's Choice Podcast Awards, so all the votes belong to the listeners of podcasts.
So when do we find out if we win?
So, end of September is when the ceremonies will be.
So we're up against actually professional podcasts.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Not like 2 radio hacks and a city manager category. Is there one of those?
We're going to get a certificate of appreciation, kind of like Park and Recs. Everybody gets a trophy.
Can you get a subcategory of the government category, which is 2 radio hacks and a city manager? Will that work?
I'll print out the email notification I received. We'll frame it. We'll put that on the wall as a nominee.
We'll take a selfie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we get a ribbon for 4th place?
No participation.
There are only 4 in the category, right?
Yeah. I did actually one time in my life display a 3rd place trophy because it was from a wiffle ball tournament, and it had a pig on it and then a little wiffle golf ball underneath it. And it was one of those FFA trophies with the pig, but that's what they made 3rd place.
Wiffle ball is hard.
This was legit wiffle ball too.
If you really know how to play wiffle ball, that's
We didn't, but we stumbled into 3rd place just because we ran into enough pitches. But yeah, that's the only 3rd place trophy I ever hung, just because it had a pig on it.
I got a lot of track ribbons, but
maybe in 2021 we can put together a wiffle ball team here at the city.
Yeah, all right, maybe we can win that.
Go ahead, I'll take pictures.
If there's anything that you would like us to talk about, please reach out to us at media@tehachapicityhall.com. We'd love to hear from you. Love to get your ideas, and this is where we want the show to go. We've talked about issues, projects. We've talked about other organizations around us. Now our nonprofits. We've had a lot discussed with politicians at the state and local level about COVID-19. So we've really gone around, the spectrum of things that affect us. So I'd love to hear from the community and get their thoughts and input and see what they'd like to hear about.
Yeah, we try to do it in a way, too, that's not we could read off government codes, but that's just not going to be entertaining. No, so at least try to make it as easy to sort of understand for everybody as possible.
Right, so we're from the government. We're here to help, that kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're from the government. We're here to podcast. That was my second name.
There you go.
It didn't make the cut. Tehachapod won.
It didn't make
No, we want to try to inform people, right, at a very local level. Whether it's a city council agenda items, this is your time, this is your money, this is your city, right? And we work for you. We want to make sure that you understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, when we do it, how we do it,
Exactly right. Now, another topic that we're going to really expand upon is about our local economy, businesses that are coming to town, and opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, job opportunities. Right now, there are 7 restaurants in some sort of phase of development here, either active construction, renovation, or close to opening. It's crazy because restaurants are one of the most highly sort of regulated businesses amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. But people are still eating out, and it's a testament to our Tehachapi demographics that say we eat out a lot because we commute a lot. We don't want to cook, and it's convenient. So it's nuts to see that many, and that's a lot of jobs coming in too because there are new opportunities. A lot of them are very well-paying jobs for the restaurant industry, above industry standards. So that's exciting to see. So talk about that, and then that's also led to other job opportunities too within the region, within the area that aren't just for the service industry. So it's pretty exciting time.
I know Corey and I have kind of talked about this a little bit off air. is the aspect of the schools in this next quarter.
Yeah.
And the kids are going to be doing virtual school, so things will be a little bit different. This might give them the opportunity for their entry-level first job. So there are things that are available to the working class teens that are looking for that opportunity.
It's all about getting your schedule right. I mean, there were a couple options presented by the school district. You could do a virtual schedule where it was more traditional school day. You have classes 45 minutes at a pop. Or there were independent learning academy opportunities. It was also run through Tehachapi Unified School District, where basically you got your packet of work. Parents got the sort of teacher's editions, and they help teach their kids. And so I'm sure there are some very entrepreneurial style kids out there that are going, well, if I can do this in the evenings, I can work during the day, or vice versa. You know, I'm not stuck to a normal school schedule. I don't have an extracurricular right now. Maybe I can make money. There's also college students that have elected, you know, I was supposed to go to Arizona for college this year. I don't want to do that because of the virtual thing. It's not going to work. I'm going to delay that a year, and I'm going to go to work and save some money so I don't have to take out as much in student loans. Most colleges are honoring your acceptance a year later, so you don't have to start distance learning in college if you're out-of-state student and stuff. So there are opportunities. There's a workforce that's out there now that's different than we've had before COVID-19.
And everybody should have to work in a restaurant, quite frankly. You learn a lot. You know, you don't just learn through books and the internet or Wi-Fi. You learn by socializing, you know, serving people. Some people are nice, some people are not so nice, and you really learn a lot.
You develop customer service skills.
You
so
do.
whether you're going to continue in a customer service atmosphere or you want to start your own business one day,
it's all about respect, right?
And problem solving.
Yep.
And there are a lot of benefits to those jobs if you really look at it that way. You know, and you start to find those things, whether it's, you know, marketing, you know, what sells. And then you start to find out, you know, you can present the specials and things and those opportunities.
The colors of your business in the restaurant industry. Why does everybody have red? Red makes you hungry.
Right.
Science.
And it translates across all industries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about here in the future episodes of Tehachapi. Again, anything that you want us to talk about, give us a holler. Media at TehachapiCityHall.com.
We should promote another episode we're going to have real quick. We're going to have Miss California on the show.
Oh, that's right.
We're going to have Miss California on the show.
Tiffany Ray.
Miss California on the show.
States. Miss California, United States.
Of the United States pageant, Miss California. How
Tiffany
about that?
Ray, she works at the city of Tehachapi. she's a great employee, and who would know that she's on the side?
And she also has a nonprofit.
And she's a nonprofit.
And we're going to talk to her about that because she's already got an event that's coming up.
Yep.
So we've got some other things to talk about. We've got a lot of things in the queue that we want to start to work.
I'm not trying to be
towards.
competitive, but do the Veterans Affairs podcast have Miss California on?
No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Just
I
saying.
don't think so.
Just saying.
Just saying.
I don't know. So give us a holler, media at TehachapiCityHall.com. We appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Tehachapi. Guys, do you have anything parting?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Tehachapi is a conversation about Tehachapi designed for the people who live here or who would like to know more about this mountaintop community. If you have a question you would like answered, email media at TehachapiCityHall.com. We will try to answer it on a future episode of Tehachapi.